The following is a production of Upstate Prepcast Boiling Springs.
Good evening and welcome into the third edition of Real Talk with Coach Matt Real. Tom Dixon along with Ken Walter, Todd Waddell behind the camera tonight, the super producer. Coach Real is out on the field doing some final practice stuff going on, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with Coach's Spotlight. Coach Matt Gose is with us tonight, linebacker coach. Glad to have you with us, Coach.
Good to be here. Glad y'all have me on there.
Yeah, we were talking off there a little bit. Been here for a little while. Graduated from here and been here going on, 12 years now. So you've seen a lot of changes and things going on with the program.
Been through a few regime changes and, had that when I was actually here. I was here with the Cooper and the Clark transition. So that's, been through it. Seen a lot.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Tell us a little bit about, going back that far, tell us about your history. You graduated from here, then you went to, I believe it was Lander, you said.
Yep. Graduated here in 2009. Went to Lander, kind of doing pre-med and, just kind of found my way there. I was like, this ain't for me. Transitioned and went back into, was tutoring and found out, hey, I like teaching and kind of miss being around the guys and the environment. And, had a lot, like I said, I've had a lot of great coaches before me that was welcoming to have me back on, and actually made a call to Wade Cooper. I actually saw him just in passing one day, and he's like, hey, you got to get started. And called Rick, and the rest is history from that point on. It was kind of baptism by fire that first year. So,
yeah.
All three, like you talking about coaching, no experience in coaching ninth grade, JV and varsity all at once. Yeah, because we only had 13 guys on staff. So
yeah.
It was something.
And got a little baseball history with you as well?
Absolutely, yeah. Coach, still coaching here. JV baseball coach we got a good crop of kids. We kind of Real and all of us, we do a great job sharing our athletes here at this school. So it's we're all in this together. So that's why I like being here and doing it.
No, I think that's been a huge part of just getting more kids out. Is you tell my voice is about gone. Is us understanding that even us being a 5A school, I think during the spring we had like 68 football kids that were in other sports. So they have to have trust in us that we're going to take care of their guys in the weight room during the season, and make sure that baseball or lacrosse or soccer or whatever it is, basketball, wrestling, whatever, that during those seasons, those things are top priority. And Coach Gose and Coach Lipscomb and Coach Brandon, all those guys have done a phenomenal job of encouraging, guys to give football a chance, but then also just trusting us and saying, hey, look, when you got them, you got them. We got them, we got them. We're all on the same, on the same page, and just, really supporting each other. That's been a huge part, I think, of our growth, and then as our whole athletic program, the growth as well. It's just trusting each other.
Yeah, and your trust is a big thing. This year we got a good linebacker core coming back, a solid defense returning from last year, and with all the graduation we had on the offensive side, the defense is looking to, kind of be the lead here. Tell us a little bit about that, your expectations coming into the season, and how y'all kind of plan for that.
We definitely did plan for that. One of the strengths for us coming into the season, obviously, was our secondary, having them guys together for as long as we had, because it's, usually one group's here and there for a while, and we just hadn't really still kind of putting everything together there. But, we returned TJ Collins and Jace, a few of the guys that had varsity experience last year. These guys obviously got coached really hard. The younger guys are filling in on JV and the ninth grade group. So, we got high expectations on that side of the ball, and that's, it's one thing that we saw last week didn't turn out the way we wanted to, but they absolutely, effort was not in question for many plays there, and I think it's the totality of the team. They tried. They played really hard. It's early, so we're still putting some things together.
Well, it was our second game of the season because the scrimmages, things like that, are second. And, not so much on the defense, but on the opposite side of the ball, you got a lot of guys that this is their first Friday night experiences, and you got some defensive guys as well. But you're at the effort's there, and sometimes maybe it's a little bit more effort. They're over pursuing some stuff. Might be because y'all know more about this stuff than I do. I'm just a spectator up there, but the conditioning and effort has not been an issue. That's something we've seen in the past that was an issue. It's not now.
Oh, absolutely not. They do it, like Chance and all them do a fine job up there with them guys, and practice is intense, man. We want it to be that way, and we want to get all our work in there, and we don't want to do anything extra after, but sometimes it calls for it, so gotta get them right.
Well, I'm sitting there as that was going on. I'm like, I remember this way back when after practice was kind of when the real stuff happened.
Yeah.
Well, we got to have accountability, and we tell the kids all the time, man, like there has to be a standard, and there has to be an answer, and there has to be this is what has to be done. We didn't get it done, so now we got to find ways to get it done. And if we're allowing mediocrity, if we're allowing things to not be done at the standard at which we know they have to be done, then if we allow it, we encourage it. And that's part of it, man. And it's not just that; it's in the classroom. It's in in our study hall every Wednesday. The guys that aren't meeting standard, they got to be there, and there's consequences for that. If you get a referral, there's a consequence for that. You're letting your teammates down, whether it's on the field or in the classroom. So, that's just part of what we have to do. And I think the kids in the long run, they may not enjoy it right now. Just like I didn't enjoy being disciplined by my parents as I was growing up. But, as I have my own kids now and I see how necessary it is, you're very grateful for those things. So, that's just part of it, man. And we got great kids. Coach was talking about effort, man. Our kids played really, really hard Friday night. We just weren't disciplined in some areas, and we didn't execute, like we needed to. And we got to fix that, and we got to change that so we can win this Friday night.
Well, and we're going to get into that here in just a little bit, but talking about the accountability, I said this last week, 40 years ago, whatever it was when I was playing, I still remember the impact the coaches had on me. And over there where I played, we had a big hill right beside the stadium, and we became very familiar with that hill with crab crawls and all that other stuff. And you didn't really want to do it, but you knew why you were there.
No doubt.
And that's part of it. You remember stuff like that, and at the time, I can't believe he's making me do this. And then you realize years later, no, he didn't make me do it. I earned that one.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Coach. So, since you've been here so long, what's the big attraction here at Bowling Springs that's different than when you were here?
I think just you look around the place. I mean, we just got a lot of growth. We got facilities are coming up. I mean, you see money being put into where it needs to be, and you just got. I mean, I think that's the starting point for a lot of it. There's got like we are very open with our guys when they come in. There's no guarantees. You come in and you're going to compete, and I mean, there's like I said too. One thing that kind of we don't talk about as much, like what he kind of hit on earlier, is the building's fantastic. I mean, working for that administration up there, and our 8 to 3 job is fantastic. So the kids there are great. We just got a school full of good kids, and everywhere's going to have that 1 or 2% of them. But I mean, that surrounded by everything else, it's a great place, and it could really, it's a special place now, and it's just we're just seeing it keep rising. And I mean, that should attract you. This whole area is seeing a lot of growth, so I mean, that's exciting to be a part of.
Absolutely, yes, I agree.
Well, that's one of the reasons, Ken and Todd and myself, all of us, had kids that went through this Bowling Springs school system. I'm a Spartan High guy, and my wife's a Gaffney graduate. And we don't talk on Fridays, but we decided to meet somewhere in the middle.
We got that in common. My
Yeah.
wife's a Gaffney grad too, so that's
Well,
a tough week in our house.
Tough week in our house. So we wanted to raise our kids in a place that was family oriented and good quality education and good athletics as well. Bowling Springs checks all the boxes, and that's why we're here. And I'm sure Ken can have his own story about that. And Todd, his son, came through here, and that's the reason there's a lot of growth up here, is because of what the school system provides. You can ask any realtor out there, that's one of the biggest draws to an area is the school system.
We take academics seriously here. I mean, it's rigorous, and it's we got. It's always been one thing about us and I'll say this on the defense side of the ball is, you got 1 or 2, but golly, guys, you got it made. You've got guys that are going to be able to adapt and take your installs, and they got it within 2 or 3 times through, and they got it. You don't spend all season still working on week 1 installs. So that's we got some smart kids out here, and it drives everybody to be better. It really does.
that, and setting the standard, having the accountability. The kids understand here's what is expected of me, and either I'm going to meet those expectations and do the work to do it, or they're going to find somebody that will. And that's how life is. There's a lot of guys out there that never really been held to that accountability level, and it shows. And that's not the case here. So I know, Todd, we're ready to take a break. We got a couple other guys here. Our offensive defensive player of the game. We're going to come in right after this break, and we'll introduce them. We'll be back.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, sir.
Have you been hurt by church? Have you maybe lost your faith or lost your way? We understand that at View Church because we've been there. If you're looking for an authentic place to worship with authentic people that understand brokenness, we would love for you to come and be our guest sometime. We have 2 services at 8:30 and 11, and we're located at 5555 Pierce Bridge Road in Bowling Springs. Come, find hope again.
All right, back here at the Real Talk with Coach Matt Real, and Coach had unfortunately on the short end of a game Friday night against Malden, but we had a couple of guys that played real well, doing their effort. Every week we do an offensive and defensive player of the week, and we brought them here tonight, and we're going to go offensive first. We got Grayson Crow, senior wide receiver, scored a touchdown for us.
Yes, sir.
And I got to talk about you on after the Greer game, had what I called an ESPN highlight catch. Of course, Todd's camera didn't quite catch it, but I saw it. Great catch then, great catch. We fell behind kind of early, fought back and tied it up, and one of those touchdowns, called it 9-yard touchdown pass down there in the end zone. Malden, pretty good field for you.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I feel like we played a good game to start the game out. I felt like when we went down, I felt like our guys rallied together, and we really went out there and played as a team, and we brought it back. We had a pick six, and then we went and scored, and I felt like at some point we started to get a little bit complacent as of how we were feeling towards the end of the first half and towards the start of the second half. But it's just something we have to work on.
Well, I don't want to say it's early in the season because every game needs to be ready to go because you've had a lot of year-round stuff, but it is early in the season. And this is when you get this stuff worked out. What I refer to as the silly season, which is the non-region stuff, getting you ready for the region when it actually counts, playoff cities and things like that. So you're recognizing that, and y'all are in control of your effort and your intensity, and that's, like you said, the complacency is part of that. Y'all can control that. Nobody else can control that for you, and that's one. Recognizing that early and making those corrections is a great thing. Senior year, we got to talk to you at the first Real Talk show. Senior, still not sure what you want to do after it because you got track options as well. But again, 2 games into the season, receiving core, y'all are making some good catches, making some impacts. Tell us about that.
Well, I feel like we have a great group of receivers. I mean, we have a lot of young people coming up. We have a lot of people that haven't had as much varsity experience that I've had. But I feel like everybody is coming into those roles and doing real well and playing their hearts out.
And that's all you can ask for them. And with your leadership out there, it shows on the field. Again, making them great catches, being there for your team. You're starting to draw some attention away from other receivers because they say, we can't leave him alone. He's going to hurt us if we do. So that's also part of your role out there. And I'm sure the coaches have told you that. But you're doing a great job. And because of that, you were voted on by these 2 gentlemen here because I'm not allowed to vote. But you are the offensive player of the game for Friday night against Malden, and we want to present this to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Great job. Looking forward to seeing you again this Friday here at home for the home opener.
Sir. Yeah.
Show it to the camera.
Pretty
There you
nice. I like it.
go. And if you'll appreciate you coming in, if you'll hand that over to our defensive player of the game, Tavion Hall. Pretty good game for you on Friday night.
We got a couple of games, I'd say.
Couple of games. Yeah, I think you got 3 interceptions this year, 2 of them in the Greer game with a pick 6, and then back-to-back weeks you had another pick 6. So what you've showed us is not only do you play your position well and you get to the ball, make the catch, but now you also know what to do with it after the fact. So you take it to the house twice for us already. You know, we scored, 14 points Friday night, and 2 touchdowns are sitting right here.
Yep.
I mean, that's big defense play for you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what your expectations coming into this season.
Really just playing my role, being a leader back there. You know, we're really young. We're not really young, but for the most parts we're young in the defensive side. But just playing my role, trusting my technique, and letting my coaches trust me to do what I need to do.
And the effort out there, you're able to, you know, they call them lockdown positions. They're locking down on some of the best receivers, and he's one of them because definitely athletic. And I can't think of a receiver we're going to face this year that he can't match up with, and that's got to be something good for you, Coach, to have somebody like that on that side of the ball.
No, I mean, if you think back to last year, you know, we knew going into the playoff game, you know, Dortmund was going to be very run heavy, and we really thought that it would benefit us getting, you know, some more linebackers on the field, and we really took Tavion, played him at corner, and just said, hey, look, man, we think you're better than anybody they got, so you and Fave go lock down, and we'll have extra guys we can play run fit with. And
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Well, when you have players that make plays, you look really good as a football coach. And then when you struggle, you know, making plays, everybody thinks you're the dumbest guy in the world. So these guys obviously, you know, make our job a lot easier. But, you know, having, you know, for me, our first couple of years, we had opportunities at a lot of turnovers. I think our first year here, we had something like 18 dropped, you know, interceptions possible. As crazy as that sounds, it was a crazy number, and you know, that was one of our focus, you know, points going into, you know, Tavion's sophomore year. And I think, you know, that's one of the things we talked about every single day was not just being a guy back there, but hey, let's make every play. And then, you know, when those balls go from giving guys another chance at 3rd and 6, you know, 3rd and 5, whatever, or them punting the ball and gaining 40 yards, where we pick it, and then in his opportunities, running it back for 6. It just changes the whole ball game, man. And just knowing we got him back there, we've got some other guys back there that can not just play defense and bat it down, but go up and make the play and then change field position or score. I mean, if you tell a defensive coordinator you can average 7 to 10 points on defense, or tell an offensive coordinator that your defense can average 7 to 10 points scored every single week, you should win a lot of football games. So, you know, we're blessed, man. We got really good skill players. Both these guys are guys that, in my opinion, you know, do things the right way. They're here all summer. They're at every workout. They're at everything we do. They do it at a high level. They don't just show up. And both of them are multi-sport guys. I mean, Tavion's a big-time basketball guy as well. Obviously, you know, Grayson with track. And, you know, I think it just shows that football, you know, it doesn't take you away from being good at everything. And these two guys have just worked, you know, tremendously hard to be successful. And then, you know, obviously, they're starting to see the fruits of that work that they've put in.
Yeah, Coach, you said Tavion, he's been a starter on the varsity basketball team. You know, he averaged double figures, so he told me he's trying to get his football average up to double figures as well.
Hey, if he can average double figures in football too, I'm gonna be sending out a lot of film, getting a lot of calls here the next little bit for sure. But I think that's just kind of been the evolution, and they, you know, we talk about it like we used to make fun of them for dropping balls all the time, but now it's like having receivers, you know, back there that are tracking the football, going up and getting the football, making plays, and like I said, not just, you know, trying to bat the ball down or get to the next down, but, you know, we're trying to pick every ball off back there and we're trying to go score. And that's the mentality that our DB coaches have ingrained into them. Both of our defensive coordinators, Coach Graham, who was here before, and then Coach Anderson, who's here now. Like, it's not a passive mindset. It's not just a bend but don't break. Like, we want to go and score. And I think these guys, you know, have done a great job of living that out so far.
Yeah, and, you know, I've watched you play basketball. We talked about that. Very athletic out here on the field. You're making the job easy for the coach because your defensive back coach making him look real good because, you know, we had 4 interceptions against Greer, counting the 2-point conversion we intercepted. Had another pick 6 the other night. You know, you had 2 of the 4 interceptions against Greer the other night. I mean, the coach's dream out there, and his hard work is paying off. You know, that's, you know, congratulations to you, and because of that, you got the defensive player of the game against Malden.
Yeah.
And want to present that to you.
Thank you.
And now that means you want to try to earn it again. We want to keep talking about you.
That's right.
Because we got, you know, the game this Friday night, and I think y'all are familiar with the guys because half of them live across the street from each other and down the corner, and y'all meet up at church every Sunday, and you got the cookout bowl, I guess is what we call it, because you see each other all year round, and you know you don't want to go out as a senior saying, "My senior year I lost to Chapman." You know that's not a good thing to leave with. So, well, congratulations. Good playing Friday night. Todd, we're going to take a break, come back, and talk to Coach Reel about the upcoming game, and maybe rehash a little bit of this past Friday. Appreciate it, guys.
See you, Tavion.
Good job, man. Proud of you, man.
Have you been hurt by church? Have you maybe lost your faith or lost your way? We understand that at View Church because we've been there. If you're looking for an authentic place to worship with authentic people that understand brokenness, we would love for you to come and be our guest sometime. We have 2 services at 8:30 and 11, and we're located at 5555 Pierce Bridge Road in Bowling Springs. Come, find hope again.
Back here at Real Talk with Coach Matt Reel. And Coach, I'm just going to talk about the elephant in the room. We had a game Friday night against Malden, and we came in on the short end of it. Started a bad weekend of football for me, but
Speaking of elephant.
yeah, speaking of elephant, I thought I'd segue into that.
Yeah, both of us were on the.
We're on the short end Friday and Saturday.
My granddad used to say something else, but we'll say the short end of the stick.
Yes, we will. But the positives that I came out of that game, and because I always try to be optimistic here, the glass half full kind of thing. I've been doing this, this is my 18th season. There were teams in the past, years ago, that after we dropped down by 14 points early in the first quarter because opening drive that we allowed them to extend off of a busted coverage, that turns into points. Fumbled the kickoff, gave them the short field, turns into points. We're down 14, about three minutes into the ball game, we're down 14. There were teams years ago here that I've seen that they would have already folded up and gone to the locker room, and it was just a matter of how bad were they going to lose against an inferior team. This team came back. They tied it up before halftime. Of course, we still came out on the short end, but the positives I saw was there was no quit in them. And you see a lot more than I do down there. I'm just up in the booth running my mouth. But from a spectator and fan side of it, I was proud that they didn't just quit.
No, I mean, I don't think there was any moment. I mean, even when we went down 14 right there, and pretty much the worst start to a game you could have. I mean, we had a busted coverage, gave up a really big play, had another a bust where we had a call where we should have had a peel to the running back right there, and of course, we had the fumble on the kickoff return. So just really, really bad to where, like you're saying, kids could really find a way to just shut down. But I don't really have and didn't have any thought process in the moment of, oh no, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? I felt like our guys just needed to catch their composure a little bit. Coaches not freak out, not start losing their mind, not put the kids in a fray of this is different than what we've ever seen before, And I thought the kids did a good job of, we got the ball, went down and scored, and then ended up scoring later on the pick six and really kind of changed the momentum. I think the biggest thing was, man, we were just so inconsistent once we got into the red zone offensively. We just couldn't. We missed the field goal. We threw the interception in the end zone after the defense had given us a short field right there. And, I don't care who you're playing, whether you're playing Dutch Fork, whether you're playing Malden. I'm not, saying that to be disrespectful to anybody. You got to be able to score when you have opportunities, and you can't turn the football over. And I think for us right now, the biggest thing that we got to do is we've got to eliminate the mistakes. We got to eliminate, the my bads, as I call it. The my bads get you beat. And it's not that, I think anybody wants to do that. I don't think anybody's going out this single play saying, hey, look, I'm going to screw this up. But we got to be able to execute in high pressure situations. And there is no excuses. You either get it done or you don't. I either, get it done as a head coach and we win, or we don't. And that's what I told the kids, man. Like, when we lose, it's on me. When we win, you guys get all the glory. And that's the way I want it.
Sure.
And I think they understand that. They know I'm going to go to bat for them every time I can. But, the reality of the situation is we just got to get a lot better. And We got to be a lot more consistent if we plan on winning a lot of games this year. Our competition is only going to get better. Chapman's going to come in here, fired up, looking to win a big rivalry game for them. It'll be their Super Bowl, man. Up to this point, they're 20 minutes from here. These kids go to church together. They are all, a lot of them are kin to each other, or they're close friends, or there's some kind of relationship in place, whether it's just them growing up together, whatever it may be.
They live next door to each other. I mean, literally.
And that's Chapman is a place where they've won.
Sure.
It's a football town. They love that. They love football. They love their team, love their community. And, whether they're 3A or 5A, it doesn't make a difference. They expect to come over here and win. And our kids have got to be prepared to meet that level of excitement, for being able just to get to play another game on Friday night, and then we got to execute. I told the kids, man, I never doubt how hard you're going to play. I think since we've been here, people can look at a lot of different things and say, well, they didn't do that well. Well, one thing I don't feel like people can really say is our kids don't play hard, but a lot of teams are going to play hard. The teams that win are going to be the ones that play hard, and they also execute at a high level. And that's where we got to get to this week and start trending in that direction. And I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah, home opener. Been on the road the first 2 weeks of the season. Try to hype it up even more. We got the home opener. Chapman is coming to town, and I hate to say the word rival, but there is some friendly rivalry going on because there's bragging rights for the whole year, and because again they see each other all the time. Being that it's the home opener with Chapman coming to town, is that? I guess the intensity shouldn't be hard to get in these guys ready to play because again they're playing in front of their crowd for the first time this year at home, and it's Chapman.
Yeah, and I think too, it shouldn't matter who we're playing. It shouldn't matter where we're playing. There should be a level of excitement to just go and play every Friday night. I mean, we do so much year round. We do so much during the season. There's so much time spent here. Whether it's in first block football class, whether it's at practice, whether it's after practice, whether it's Google Meets, whatever it may be, this is the reward. Friday night is the reward for all the stuff that you do that's not fun, and the stuff that is fun. And I just want the kids to enjoy that. I think sometimes we just get caught up in the melee of the work that sometimes you forget to enjoy the really true fun part of this. And I'm telling you, man, I went and played baseball in college and kind of got away from it, and then was able to come back and start coaching again once I graduated college. But there is nothing like Friday nights. I don't care what you're doing, where you're going. It's just a different vibe. It's a different energy. There's especially in high school, it's still true, football. And it's just a great thing. And, I hope that our kids are loving, those Friday night experiences as much as I did and I still am, every Friday right now.
Coach, Chapman comes over, coached by Harry Cabness. He, of course, came over from Malden. And he always plays a really tough, brutal preseason non-region teams.
Yep.
From my understanding, a little bit of scouting I've done, even though the score didn't show it, they played Daniel pretty tough on that game. And they got a kid on their defense that number 7, 6'4", 210-pound defensive end. Turner, I believe is his last name. Yeah. But what do we have that we can stop his pass rush?
They got two really good defensive ends, 7 and 8. They're very similar, both extremely physical, both really athletic. They play things a little bit differently depending on which one you're running at, or what the what our pass pro would be. I think the biggest thing is we just got to tackle them. Like, guys that are really good players, and I've coached against some really good guys. A lot of times you just got to go at them. We played against some guys when I was in North Myrtle that are at USC now and Clemson, different places. And if you run away from them, they're just really athletic and run you down. And, I think, there's obviously going to be times where we're going to be smart and try to kick our pass pro towards those guys, maybe chip with a running back, maybe, chip with a tight end on his way out and do some different things to try and help. But, one of my things is don't let King Kong beat you. So you find out who their best guys are, and you better have a plan to attack those guys. I'm not going to be dumb enough to give our plan out right now. But, we're going to do a variety of things. And I think the biggest thing for us is we got to be really aggressive from an O-line standpoint. We got to play with great technique, and we got to give them multiple things to look at. I think anytime you play really good defensive linemen and linebackers, because they read so much. If they're really good ones, they usually read really, really well. I think you got to give them multiple things that they're always looking at. They're maybe getting reached one play, maybe getting a down block one play. We might not be touching them one play. Sprint out, we may, slide our protection to them. We may, send two guys to them. I think we have to have them in guess mode a lot and not let those guys get comfortable. If they get comfortable, it's going to be a long night for us. So, just mixing in what we do, how we do it, and just making sure those guys are uncomfortable, as much as possible.
Yeah. And their quarterback, I believe he's started part of the season last year. Now he's a full-time starter. Is he pocket passer? Is he a rollout passer?
They do a little bit of everything. I mean, they're a ton of run game. They want to run the football. They want to control the line of scrimmage. They're a little bit younger still. They're still, I think, like us, evolving offensively right now. Doing some different stuff defensively. They're more of a stack look, than what we've seen in the past. But I think he does a good job of trying to, lead their offense. They try to throw a lot of screens. They're going to have him in some key situations making big time decisions. And I think our job is to get him to make some bad decisions. Our goal, defensively, I tell people all the time is we want to make 16, 17, 18-year-old kids make a decision on a dime compared to letting coaches who are 35, 40 years old that have been in this game for a long time who know if I get this, I'm going here. We want to take them out of the equation and make those high school kids make really fast decisions that are going to benefit us. And I think that's what we got to do with him. I think a lot of people, I think Coach Cab does a great job. We're on staff together right now with the North-South All-Star game, so I'll see him tomorrow morning. They do a phenomenal job with their program. And as you mentioned, man, they play as hard a schedule as anybody in the state of South Carolina, in their preseason. And he wants those kids battle tested. He wants those kids to have seen the worst of what they're going to see before they get to their region. And I think there's some merit to that. I think they've gotten into the playoffs and made some runs that I don't know they would have done if they hadn't have challenged themselves, earlier in the season. Hats off to those guys. I know a lot of those guys. Go to church with a lot of those guys. They're good guys. They work hard, do things the right way, and it's going to be a big challenge for us on Friday night.
Yeah, so Friday night they're coming to town, and you mentioned you're on the staff North-South with Coach Cavanis. It's going to be a big game for y'all because y'all will definitely see each other again after this game's over with, and make the conversation a lot easier on you if we come on the winning side of it.
Yeah, I don't want to be taking any jabs next Wednesday when we go to Newberry and meet, but like I said, we've got a ton of respect for those guys and how they do things, and like I said, it's a traditional program. They win a lot of football games there. Their community expects them to win a lot of football games there, and he's done a great job coming in after Coach Hodge and keeping that mentality where it's at, and they're doing a ton of improvements over there too, man. They've got people that believe in their program and bettering their athletic facilities, and he's pushing that. And, he does a phenomenal job, man. So like I said, we're going to have to be really well prepared. We're going to have to play our best football game that we've played this year, if we're going to win here on Friday night, and I believe we're going to do that.
Yeah, so speaking of that, preparing for Friday, I know we had the holiday with Labor Day. I don't know what your practice schedule was, but had practice tonight. Looked like they were getting it out after there. Any kind of, as far as the practice intensity, everything looks good, and we come out of the game pretty healthy, so everything should be a go for Friday.
Yeah, it always cracks me up. Like, people are like, you practice on Labor Day. I'm like, guys, it's football season, and it's Labor Day. Like, the literal name of the holiday is Labor Day. Like, we're going to work. So, and I think it's just different. I think it's different for the younger guys because a lot of time middle schools don't practice on Labor Day because most of those families are gone. They've never been in a situation where they do have practice. So I think our freshman guys, but, we give calendars out in February. So they've known a long time. But it's just another work day, man. Like, once we start, there are no, even our bye week, we will not have like a day off. We'll be doing something to get better. So we do practice. We practice Monday morning. We practice at 7:30. Lifted, did our normal film stuff like we would in class, and practiced for about 2 hours and 15 minutes once we got done. Normal schedule today. We had a good practice on Monday, had a good practice today. Again, man, the energy's been fine. We just got to be consistent with the small details, the not jumping off sides, the not getting, big plays and having a holding call, the not, having a 50-50 ball and us not making the play, or slightly overthrowing, receiver. Just the little stuff of the game, man, that you got to do at a high level to be able to score at a high level. And I think the biggest thing last year is we were able to score, pretty consistently. And when you do that, it puts a lot of pressure on the other offense to take shots and to take chances. And I think when you do things really well, when you're disciplined, when you're sound in what you do, when you make teams have to play that way, it ends up benefiting you, and you end up getting to make more plays because they're getting out of what their normal, thought process is sometimes and what their normal operation is sometimes. So, that's what we got to get back to. I think we've played good enough in some areas, to be undefeated right now, but there's some areas we got some more growth we got to get done, and just consistent. I keep coming back to that same word, but it's what it is. Yeah. And we got to be more consistent. We got to get our defense off the field more. Let those guys get a little break. And then too, I think the biggest thing, man, going back to Greer and this past week with Malden, was just our red zone opportunities. We got to make the most out of those.
Yeah, we get inside the red zone, we got to put points on the board, and that's hurt us actually both weeks. We've had some opportunities that we didn't take advantage of, and each week it gets a little bit harder, and you're right, we got to find a way to make that happen, because I don't know how often you get inside the red zone against some of these Region 2 5A guys we're going to be playing against. So we got to make the money every chance we get.
No, and I think that's the case with everybody. I mean, it doesn't matter who we're playing. If you can't score and you're giving other teams opportunities to score, that equation
don't work
out.
It doesn't matter.
It puts a lot of pressure to me on your defense. We want our guys to play loose. We want our guys to take chances. We want our guys to. No, I don't think you can be aggressive if you're worried about making a mistake.
Right.
And I think we've got to make sure that we're allowing our defense to continue to play that way and not feel like if we make one mistake, it's going to cost us. We got to let those guys play free. We got to have the ability to call what we need to call, and then we got to execute. And it's the same thing on both sides of the ball. It's the same thing in special teams. If we execute, we're going to be fine. If we don't, then you leave yourself open, to teams to take advantage of those things.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to Friday night. It's the home opener for the 2025 campaign. Got Chapman Panthers coming to town, so it's going to be a friendly rivalry game. But we want to make sure we come on the upper end of this one. As always, looking forward to it. Appreciate you coming and joining us tonight. And 2 more days, we'll be back out here at the Dog Pound ready to get it started.
Crowded on both sides.
Yeah, we're excited, man. Thursday night, our freshman team plays here against Blue Ridge, and then our JV's obviously going to Chapman to play. So, we'll get them cranked up on Thursday, and then, our thing is those guys set the tone for Friday, man. Do your job on Thursday, get the momentum going our way, and then let our guys on Friday come out and attack and get the job done too.
Looking forward to it, Coach. And if y'all can, come out and see us on Friday night. If not, tune in and watch the game as the Bulldogs are going to take on the Chapman Panthers. Appreciate you joining us.
Go Dogs.